So tell me, why are you applying to medical school?
Applying to medical school because obviously I want to pursue medicine. And
I have a
the reason
question
why I
here.
want to pursue medicine is
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like gave like a long story. I wasn't when I was explaining it, I wasn't sure if that was the right time. Is like the why medicine like is it better if it's like a short, like distinct, I guess, response or in your opinion?
Yeah. Okay. So my opinion is following. First, it's not a terrible story. It's a terrible story to the answer to the question.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. I
Yeah.
was the wrong
Yeah.
question to
And you know, Jaden, you know that you're gonna get asked a question. Why do you want to go to medical school, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So you gotta come up with something besides your brother. It's almost like again, the story isn't a terrible story. It's completely unrelated why you want to go into medicine. It doesn't make sense to me. What
Yeah.
does that make you want to go into medicine? That's why I kept asking you, well, if you just want to be close to somebody and care for somebody, first of all, you care for your brother, obviously, because he's your brother. So why would you care for somebody you don't know, a patient you've never met, right? And then secondly, like there's lots of jobs like social worker where you really do, take care of somebody. So your story just doesn't answer my question. And you know you're going to get asked, why are you going into medicine? Why do you want to go to medical school? So come up, this is your personal statement, right? Come up with something, Jaden, that is interesting, convincing, and practice telling that story. You and I are going to practice it, but this isn't going to do it. The story about your brother ain't going to get you into medical school. It is not going to impress the interviewer. Agree?
Okay, so like you saying like a different story or it's like not
Yeah,
even
I
a
think you need to
story?
if you want to use the story, you got to come up with a different angle. If just to say, I really, it made me feel great and good to be there for my brother who I really care for, and that's what drives me. I want to be, I want to be able to care for people. I want to be able to take care of people. Um, so that may be how, I don't know. If you want to use the same story, I'm not so set on against using the story, although I think you can come up with a better one. It's just it didn't really convince me why medicine still. It just told me you're a good kid. You told me that you're a good person. But you can be a good person and take care of people in lots of fields. Why, not medicine, right? Make it so that I really understand why you choose medicine out of social worker or bus driver or whatever, right? You're picking medicine for a reason and caring for somebody and taking care of people. You can do that in lots of different jobs, right? Are you following?
Yeah, in that follow-up question you asked about like why medicine in particular, and I kind of tried to answer like what about medicine like its uniqueness. Is that better for the why medicine question? I talked about like the autonomy and like the depth of knowledge. Is that like a better response to the why medicine question? Or is like an example better? We're kind of using both or
You can use both, but the most common thing, and this may not be a good thing actually, because the most common answer I seem to hear from people is, well, my grandfather was sick. My mother had this disease, and I went to the doctor's appointment with her. I went to the surgery to watch my father have this, and it just impressed me how the doctor took it. Right? They tell you those stories, right?
yeah.
So that makes sense because they saw medicine in action and it really impressed them. It impressed their young mind and they really wanted to see if they can pursue that, right? But your story is about you just talking to your younger brother about a Colorado standardized exam. That doesn't make any sense why that would want to make you go into medicine per se, right? It
Okay.
doesn't flow, right? So the exam, again, the story, you might be able to use it as one initial story, then you say, but then I had this other experience that made me realize this desire for me to care for people could really, maybe you can connect the two stories of your brother and the patient in the hospital at UCLA, right? And say, the experience with my brother really made me understand that I have empathy for people. I really want to be with people. I really want to care for people. And then I had this experience at UCLA because I started volunteering, for school. I'm sorry, for hospital, and I met this gentleman that had this sort of mental disorder. I spent a lot of time with him, and then I realized, that medicine can do something for this individual, and I felt like that I, as just a observer, was powerless. But maybe if I got an education and I got the knowledge and was able to use medications or therapies and help them, then I want that kind of power and ability to help people. So kind of you're sort of connecting these different experiences and finally ending up on medicine, right? Are you following? Does it make sense?